Hi folks, Post here, welcome back to another Pokemon Masters video, if you guys are still watching. But yeah, the part 2 of the whole event just dropped I think an hour ago while I'm recording this. And with that event, you do get, I think one 4-star potential boost, I think 300 co-op orbs or something. And then, I can't remember the exact numbers, but something like that. And then you get also a 3-star strike candy and a 4-star strike candy. These are amazing. So if you're wondering what the heck, it's just a 3-star, 4-star, not a 5-star. They're really good. So, in terms of what to use them on, let's discuss. And again, this is my suggestion. You don't have to follow it, whatever, right? I guess I have to say that a lot now. But yeah, a 3-star striker candy, 4-star striker candy, they're really good because you don't really, unlike the 5-star striker candy, they're kind of different because for the 5-star striker candy, you're mainly going to use it on something you could summon on banners, right? Like a Cynthia, a Red, a Metagross, whatever, right? Guzma. But for the 3-star and 4-stars, since you'll eventually get all the 3-star, 4-stars like maxed out anyways, through summons or whatever, right? And there's also like no point doing them right now. You can use them on free to play units, which that have their secrets expanded, but don't have like all the dupes enough to get them to 3 out of 5, right? So that's why we're gonna be using them on these free to play units, which are insane, by the way. Like Pokemon Masters has some top tier free to play units. Like if you guys checked out my tier list video I did today, which I thought was going to be the one that's get everyone big mad, but apparently it wasn't. It was the other one, which was super weird. But anyways, yeah, a lot of the top tier units in the game are free to play, and you should probably use these candies on them, right? Because again, with a lot of the summonable 3-star, 4-star units, they don't have their secret expanded yet, right? I would assume they would get expanded in the future, but at the moment they're not. So like if you really want to save them, like sure you could save the candies. Like if you don't have any trouble beating any of the like content at the moment, you could save them. But there are some really powerful ones that you could use. So let's go over them. So let's go over the 4-star candy first. So the 4-star free to play strikers, hopefully I can list them all. It should be Kingdra, Infernape, Sylveon, and Alolan Raichu. These should be the 4-star free to play units in the game, right? And only Alolan Raichu, Kingdra, and Infernape have their secret expanded, right? Sylveon does not at the moment. So yeah, let's go through them. So in terms of these three, let's just take out the one that you probably shouldn't be using it on, which is Raichu. Raichu's 3 out of 5 is kind of whatever, right? It's 2 out of 5 is all kind of whatever, right? The dude's synchro is just, all around kind of whatever, right? So at 3 out of 5, what Raichu gets is Thundershock ramming speed, which is kind of whatever, right? Because you're not trying to do damage with Thundershock. Then you get Last Dash 6. Once per battle, raises the user's speed. Radically raises the user's speed in a pinch, so that's +6 speed when you're in a pinch. But like you're about to die anyway, so what are you using that speed for? Let's see. Maybe like a last second inertia thing, whatever, which is also not that great. Discharge move gauge refresh is not bad. That's for sure not bad. Stamina reserves once per pal. Increases user's move gauge by 6 when in a pinch. So yeah, Raichu Synchro, do not use it on Raichu unless you're a huge Alolan Raichu fan, or if you like Hollow a lot. But yeah, don't use it on Raichu generally. As for the other two, so these are the main ones in contention. Infernape and Kingdra. We'll just go over quickly what they get at 3 out of 5 first. So Infernape gets a lot of good stuff at 3 out of 5. You get Critical Strike 1, that's extra 10% to your damage every time you crit, although it is 12 energy. You also get Sharp Entry, raises the crit when it enters battle. It doesn't seem like much, but when you're using it in Battle Villa, right, that saves you MP, right? So that's really good. You get Attack 20, Fire Punch, Power +4. These are good, but like they're not the biggest thing in the world. Fire Blast, Power Up, which again are nice, but also not the biggest deal in the world. Power Reserve 2, which is kind of useless, and then I wouldn't say completely useless, but it's just not that useful. It's extremely niche. And Special Attack 10, which is nice, but not a big deal. But yeah, it's mainly these two, Critical Strike 1 and Sharp Entry. Again, this is just a flat out 10% extra damage. when you get crits, and also sharp energy, which raises your crit when you enter a battle, which again is really really good for battle because you could go in, and also you do have like speedy entry. So like Infernape has a lot of stuff that a lot of passives that activate as soon as you enter the battle, which again does not cost move MP, which is really great for Villa, right? As for like the other stuff, I also have agile entry as well, which I don't think it's that big of a deal. Just because, I mean, it's a striker. You don't have to dodge too many stuff. I mean, it's good to dodge, but it's just you just rather do more damage instead, right? But yeah, Infernape, 3 out of 5, definitely really, really good. And then now let's go to Kingdra, which has a lot of good stuff as well. So we got Draco Meteor Paralysis Energy, so that's an extra 50% increase to your Draco Meteor damage if your opponent is paralyzed, which again, paralysis is very, very commonly used in Villa. If you use Pikachu, you know how common paralysis is in Villa, right? On your team. Not even talking about like the opponent. Like there's Pikachu who paralyzes, Rotom. These are 2 big ones, probably the 2 biggest ones, right? For paralysis, Pikachu and Rotom, they paralyze. There's other units like Vileplume paralyzes, Meowstic you also paralyze. Those are some other good options as well, right? And also, if you don't want to bring anyone else, you could like go for Dragon Breath Hostile Environment, which raises the chance of Dragon Breath paralyzing your opponent, which I don't really recommend, but that's an option, I guess. And you also get another Dragon Breath power up, which is also kind of whatever. Stamina reserves once per battle increases user move gauge by 6 when in a pinch, also kind of whatever. Dire Rain, critical hits land more easily when you're attacking in the rain, which is nice. And then also an extra defense plus 10, which is fodder. And then you got move gauge refresh on Draco Meteor, and then status quo for on Draco Meteor as well, which is a 50% chance of returning your lowered stats to normal when a move is successful. This is especially really good in Villa, even if you don't have a Dauntless Kingdra, right? Even if you don't have a Dauntless Kingdra, since you won't be using X special attack or that much in Villa, right? This is especially good. So, when your special attack gets lowered to Oblivion, you have a 50% chance to just turn that all the way back to 0. So, like, even if you're at, like, +6, or not +6, -6 with Draco Meteor, if you have one status quo, proc, and then you're back to 0, and then you're good. So that just takes away a lot of the negatives that Draco Meteor does give you, right? Literally. And then you also have move gauge refresh on Draco Meteor, which is phenomenal as well. So overall, the grid, you get a lot of good stuff, right? Paralysis Synergy, extra 50% damage on Draco Meteor, which already hits like a truck, by the way. Draco Meteor, and you also, again, you do have accuracy, you don't have to worry about accuracy on that. For Kingdra, let me see, what was Draco Meteor's damage again? The only like big drawback for Draco Meteor was that it lowers your special attack, which again, with status quo, you don't have to worry about that anymore, right? So Draco Meteor 136. Yeah, that's a lot. Which is obviously not going to be 136 because if you use 2, candy is going to increase, right? So yeah, really, really good. Dire Rain, you could run a sort of, I guess, like rain kind of team with Kingdra, right? With Raging Rain, all that stuff. Rain gear if you want. This Kingdra is just here to like hit incredibly hard. If you already have a Dauntless on Kingdra, which is fine, then you don't have to do status quo. You could save on that, save energy on that, and just go for Paralysis Synergy instead, right? So. Well, you're gonna go for Paralysis Synergy either way, but you could save on that and all these unnecessary help. Why is it moving every time I click it? But yeah, you could basically get the whole thing if you have Dauntless as well, right? If you don't, then you probably have to cut some corners here and there in terms of your grid, but still. A phenomenal grid. Kingdra's one of the hardest hitting special attackers in the game. Not the most, but one of them. It's extremely hard. So this is definitely a really, really good grid to invest in, right? In terms of Kingdra versus Infernape, I personally do think Kingdra's is better. And the reason being is Infernape, well, is really good. There's just so many fire type strikers in the game that, yes, Infernape's really good, but like there's other units that you could use instead, right? You would just use Torkoal instead, right? Although again, apples and oranges a bit. You can't really compare Infernape to Torkoal. I guess you could more compare Infernape to, I guess, Red. They're a bit more close. right? In terms of like how they use, not their power, right? Yeah, red's better. I don't know what else to say. Got red, you can use red. If you got Torkoal gridded, you can use Torkoal instead. Obviously, different scenarios, you probably would want to use Infernape instead, but most of the time, you probably just use Torkoal instead. So I would suggest Kingdra over Infernape just because it's so powerful, right? And yeah, as for the 3 stars, what we do have with grids here, right? We got Dugong. We got Lucario. We got Pikachu as well, and Haxorus. So let's start off by again talking about the ones that really don't deserve much attention. And do keep in mind this is 3-star striker candy, not support or tech, right? But yeah, let's get one. Yeah, Dugong out of here. Dugong's 3 out of 5 bad? No, it's not. It's actually not bad, right? You got freeze energy 8. You got 2 of them, so that's an 100. Extra 160%, right? Boost. When the opponent is frozen. Problem: really hard to freeze. Although you do have 2 hostile environments, and it's just freeze just doesn't last that long, unfortunately, right? Even if they don't have less than freeze, it still doesn't last that long either. But it's like it's not bad. It's not bad, right, per se. As for other stuff, again, invigorating hail, 2 of those, so there's that as well. But like the hail user, Abomasnow is kind of potato, right? In comparison to say Ho-Oh or Acerola as sun, and sand users, it's kind of potato, but it's not like terrible. But also there's no point using an ice type striker just because the only ice type weak stages in Villa are the first 5, right? Well, not all the first 5, 3 of the first 5. So there really isn't much point in doing Dugong. You also get move gauge refresh on Icy Wind, right? And then an extra bit of accuracy as well, which is also nice. But again, like the grid itself isn't that bad. It's just not like too much use for it and like kind of hard and niche, right? So moving on to the other one that I'm gonna talk about, Pikachu. We can get Pikachu 3 out of 5 from the shop, but like, or 5 out of 5 if you want. The only reason why you would do Pikachu is if you haven't like spent all your daily vouchers on Pikachu yet, and you just want to save some daily vouchers, you could use one on Pikachu and like save daily vouchers, and then yeah, you could in the future use the vouchers on some other stuff. And also you have to be like really patient and don't really care about all the other grids. Like if you don't have any trouble with the game at the moment, don't need any of those grids, then sure, you can use it on Pikachu to save some resources. All right, so the 2 big ones here, Lucario and Haxorus. So where's Haxorus? Okay, let's go over Haxorus's grid first. So Haxorus, you get Unhindered, which when it attacks, ignores the damage-reducing effects on the opponent's field of play, which is really, really good. Not so much so in Villa because there isn't really a lot of that stuff, but a lot of times in co-op and a lot of event stuff, like they always put up like special shield, crit shield, this shield, that shield, right? Which makes Unhindered really, really great. But otherwise in Villa, it's not that great. Defense plus 10 is fodder. Dragon Claw 0N. A lot of people like this. I really don't understand why people like this that much. Like the dude, or it's not probably not dude, but Haxorus like has like crits, and that's just saving 1 turn of using a crit buff. I don't know why that's like that big of a deal. And also Outrage is just better, right? So there's that. You got Outrage Confusion Boon. This is the big one. Outrage Confusion Boon will help Haxorus hit like an absolute truck. Very, very comparable to Kingdra's Draco Meteor Paralysis Energy, right? They just make like both of these Dragon type units hit so incredibly hard. Also, rest in peace to Rayquaza. Oh my god, they shafted Rayquaza so hard. Why did they do that? But yeah, Outrage Confusion Boon, extremely, extremely strong. And then Outrage Move Gauge Refresh, so you get 2 Move Gauge Refreshes on Outrage, right? Which, again, really, really good. And then you got Speedy Entry, which is also nice, but not, like, necessary, right? Because you probably don't have enough energy to go around. But yeah, Speedy Entry is also really, really good. And then last one, Defense plus 10, also kind of potato. So Haxorus' Sync Grid, overall, it's just damage on Outrage. And you do a lot of that, right? You pull that up, Carry On, which is just god tier passive for Villa, right? So like you don't even have to spend any MP. You just get like attack up, right, and stuff. And then again, if you, I think, drop 2 of these, and then you get unhindered as well if you ever need that. Yeah, it's really, really good. Haxorus, yeah, one of the best Battle Villa strikers in the whole game. So, anyways, switching over to Lucario. Lucario is also really nice. You get close combat status quo, thank goodness, right? Which has moderately good chance of returning the user's lowered stats to normal when a move is successful. Well, this is especially good in single player because the opponents aren't really going to be targeting Lucario that much often, like unless they use AoE moves or whatever. So like even if you close combat, you don't really have to worry about them hitting you and one-shotting you, unless or until they use their sync move. So you could time this and hopefully once if status quo is procced like really close to when the opponent is about to sync move, then you could switch over to like power up punch or whatever instead, and then when that's coming, and then and you just basically don't have to worry about not using close combat, right? You just keep on using close combat without worrying about the drops of your defenses as much. All of this is 40%, which is still not bad, right? So there's that. Bullying 0.6, once per battle radically raises user's attack when in a pinch. That's not that great. Power up punch move cage refresh is nice, but also not the biggest deal in the world. Also power up punch power up, which is cool, I guess, but also again not the biggest deal in the world. So you also get Fierce Entry, raises the user's attack when the Pokemon enters the battle, which is really, really good for Battle Villa, right? Again, don't have to waste any MP on that. Power Reserve 5, which is a lot of damage, but again, super niche, really hard to use, right? It would be really hard to find a use for that. Scan on through Berserker, raise user's attack when moves is successful. I guess that's not it's not too bad. But also do keep in mind you only have like 2 uses for that, unless like you also pick up Scan on through MP Rush, which is actually not a terrible pickup. And then you also have close combat power up, which is nice, right? So Lucario overall, it's definitely good. The only really, really good thing on Lucario's grid is close combat status quo, but it's really, really good, right? So just for that alone, this grid is worth it. But in comparison to which one's better, I do think Haxorus's grid is just so much better. But on the other hand, if you're going to use your 4-star striker candy on Kingdra, then you probably won't need another Dragon type striker, right? If you got a Kingdra already, although I personally do think Haxorus is better than Kingdra. In Villa only. Outside of Villa, no, Kingdra is better, right? But in Villa, if you already got, if you use it on Kingdra, you don't really need to use it on Haxorus, and then that means, assuming you're not using it on Infernape and you're to have a good fire type striker like Red or Torkoal, right? Then you don't need to use it on Infernape. Then that would logically be that you'll probably use it on Kingdra, unless you use it on Ho for some reason. But yeah, if you use it on Kingdra, you don't have to use it on Iris, then you could use it on Lucario, right? And the other reason to use it on Lucario is, even though his grid isn't as good as Haxorus's, he is slightly more useful than Haxorus, right? Just because it's fighting type, you could use it against Sawyer, which Sawyer is really hard, no matter which stage the dude's at, right? Right now, I think he's at 25, right? Which is slightly difficult. But yeah, Lucario definitely will help a lot in there, right? Once the grid actually drops, which by the way hasn't dropped yet, but it should drop on next week, right? 13th or something. So yeah, I guess those are my suggestions. Again, suggestions, don't have to follow them. No one's forcing you to do whatever, right? But yeah, these are really, really good. Super exciting stuff. So yeah, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel for some more Pokemon Master content. I'll see you guys in the next one.